Surah Al-Mulk is telling you, you were created to be tested. You want to know how this looks like? You want to know what it means? There's a perfect example. Look at the surah before that. Allah will speak about two righteous women that were severely tested. Asya and what she went through. Fir'aun being the worst of mankind, he's her husband. She was surrounded by this disbelief and it did not harm her iman. She remained consistent upon her faith and she passed the test. And even something so beautiful here, Imam Ibn Kathir rahimahullah, he said this is a parable that Allah Azza wa Jal has given the believers, teaching them that if they associate with disbelievers, that does not harm their faith. Asya, they associated with disbelief. Her husband was a kafir and it did not affect her iman. So what does that teach you and I? When we live in the West, among disbelievers, that should not be a reason for why you lose your commitment to ad-deen. Here, there's a woman in history that lived alongside someone worse than every kafir on earth. Despite that, she upheld her deen and she passed the test. So don't sit and say, oh wallah, my test is difficult. I ended up somewhere in this country, someone brought me here. Wal fitan wal fasad outside has corrupted me and I lost my iman. You know, it's not because of me, it's because of external factors. There's an example in here. And the other example was Maryam. She was severely tested. How? She was accused in her honor and dignity. You know, the worst type of oppression is when you're accused in your dignity and you don't have evidence to prove yourself innocent. That is the worst type of oppression. Even then, she remained steadfast, firm, and not only that, she was a role model to mankind. These are two individuals, لِيَبْلُوَكُمْ, Allah tested them, and they came out shining for mankind. And there were two other individuals mentioned at the end of Surah Al-Talaq. They were tested severely as well, but they failed the test and they ended up in the Jahannam. Who are those? The wife of Lut and the wife of Nuh. What happened with them? The wife of Lut, she was tested. She had to choose a side. Who are you going to choose? Your husband and the group of belief and iman? Or are you going to choose your people, the disbelievers? And she put her loyalty with the disbelievers. She placed it there. She failed the test and she was from the people of the fire. And the same thing with the wife of Nuh. She was tested. Who are you going to choose? Side of belief or disbelief? Eventually she abandoned the side of her husband. She sided with the disbelievers. She failed the test. She entered Jahannam wal-'iyadhu billah. And the overall message is that they were living with the best of people and they still failed. And the other two lived in the worst of environments and they passed.